Today we are looking at this baby. That's right, it is a MIG welder, TIG welder, arc welder. It does it all. But does it do it all? Stay tuned. Hey, Ruthen here. Welcome back to Woodcrafting Place, where we bring you woodworking knowledge to help you improve your time in the shop, make it more effective and more enjoyable. So if you're in the market for a welder, today we're going to review the Vevor M130. That's right, this is a multi-process welder. Hopefully this will help you decide if this is a good tool to add to your toolbox. Okay, so first, this welder was bought with my own money, so the review will, as always, be my honest review. Okay, so as I said, this is a multi-process welder, what that means is it has 3 different types of welding capacity. You can weld with a MIG welder, called a MIG. It's not truly a MIG welder, because MIG stands for metal inert gas, and in this case, this welder does not use gas for the MIG process, the wire fed process. It uses a flux core wire, which I think you'll come to appreciate. The second one is an arc welder, a stick welder also called, and it uses a rod that's coated with flux. And the last one's TIG welding. After you purchase this, there'll be some things you need to purchase to support TIG welding to do that process. Okay, next, important to know, this is a DC welder. TIG welding is well known for being able to weld aluminum. However, DC welder will not typically weld aluminum. You will want an AC welder if you are going to weld aluminum. It's 130 amps, it is 110 volts, so you can plug it directly into your outlet at home. The specifications say 30 mils to 1/8 inch, which means really thin gauge stuff like 20 gauge steel, you'll have a hard time with. Now I'll tell you straight up front, I have been able to weld much thicker with this. And that's all based on the edge preparation. Super light, 29 pounds, you can pretty much take it anywhere, easily carry it around. And the last thing is, it has a duty cycle of 60%. What it means, if you're welding for 10 minutes, if you have a 10% duty cycle, 10% at 10 minutes, 1 minute you can weld, and then you need to wait 9. If you have a 60% duty cycle like this, you can weld for 6 minutes, and then you need to have a 4-minute wait cool-off period before you can use it again. And that, to me, that's meaningful to me, because I don't want to sit around and stare at a cooling weld. Hey, and by the way, if you like what you see today, and if you get something out of this video, and you want to see more, you want to get notified of all of our content, make sure you like and subscribe. That way, every time we produce new content, you are automatically notified. Okay, so you want to know what comes with it. So you get the welder. You will get a ground cable. You will get an arc welding clamp torch. So if you're doing MIG welding, you won't have this attached. And it comes with the TIG torch. Except you cannot do TIG welding out of the box. It does not come with a regulator. It doesn't come with a bottle for argon. And also know, as you can see here, the MIG gun, which comes with it, is permanently attached. So that will always stay attached to the machine. Also in the box, you will get these. These are worthless. Throw those in the garbage. If you try to wear those and do some welding, your face starts to hurt, you have sunburn. Let's talk about the first process, arc welding. Okay, to do any process, you will need to attach the ground clamp. Not the best, heaviest duty ground clamp. And these are quick connects, so you just put them in and turn, and they lock in turn and pull, they'll come out. And again, again, it's budget, but it does do the job. The arc welding clamp torch. What you will need is you will need arc welding rods. I actually found the stainless steel rod. This is an E312-16 rod. This has worked very well for me on both steel and stainless. Starting is a little bit tricky with this welder, or at least it takes a little practice because it does not come with a hot start. All right, next is flux cord, and you'll see I'll open this up. Put that over there. Can you see? And on here is the spool, and this spool has was wrapped with wire, the weld wire. The weld wire actually has flux in the core inside the wire. It actually feeds in through here. And when you're welding, it comes out of the center here. And squeeze the trigger, it feeds the wire. And you also will find that this is a very easy process to pick up and start welding right away for a beginner. It does, by the way, come with a roll of wire, 24 thousandths wire. So right out of the box, big plus, you can start welding a few minutes after this machine arrives. So while you're loading this, be very careful that you don't lose control. Matter of fact, my recommendation is leave this wire trapped in its little notch until it's loaded, screwed on, and you're ready to feed it into the tube here. Because if you let go of that and it unwinds, you're going to have a mess on your hands. And you may find it becomes glitchy feeding the wire. And here's the TIG torch. TIG torch is made up of a ceramic cup. That ceramic cup actually captures the gas as it comes through the tube in the cable here, and it creates a cloud around the tungsten electrode. But instead of having a rod that feeds from the handle or wire feeding from the gun, you're going to use a separate rod held in your other hand, and you will feed metal, the wire, to the weld bead as you go. You'll get a smaller, cleaner weld bead with a TIG welder. Also, don't forget, make sure you close this valve after every use. Trust me, you will have a small microscopic amount leaking out all the time. All right, so take a quick look at the welder controls. All right, so, and let me pull this out of the way. All right, there we go. You got a voltage knob, amperage knob, and then you have these controls here. You push this button, and this is just a selector button. And you can see, I hope you can see, there's MMA, that's arc welding, TIG with a 0.8, TIG with a 1.0, and then lift, TIG, lift. Lift being the process of starting your weld. You touch the metal and lift up, and the arc starts, and then you start to weld. And the TIG welder actually has the tube for the gas, which connects directly to here. It does not go through the welder. You can see the controls for the welder are quite simple, just the two knobs and the selector button. I do wish though that the welder offered the hot start. That would be really beneficial for arc welding. Notice how large the plasma field is for the arc welding and how bright it is. And then as you get to the farther into the weld, you can see how pronounced and bright and big the sparks coming off of it from the flux. Although there are a lot of sparks coming off of the MIG welding, you can see they're actually smaller sparks. They vaporize a lot of them in the air. And you also notice that the plasma field is slightly smaller and not quite as intense as the arc welding. TIG welding, you immediately notice there's a difference in the arc. When I'm getting a steady hand, there aren't any sparks coming off the weld. And occasionally I bump into the feed rod. That causes the sparks that you saw. I don't know if you noticed, the large magnet. Now you just use a large pickup magnet to hold on to the piece, and I don't have to worry about fighting with clamps or any of that. Now we gotta see if the weld's held, and sure enough, they looked good. All three weld processes yielded good results. You can see the dents in the metal as I bend it. And just for the hell of it, let's bend it backwards as well. So by process, arc welding did an okay job. Not the very best arc welder in the world. I have a hard time starting with certain rods. This E312-16 rod was the easiest to start. It gave me the nicest welds. I really liked welding with this. This was super nice. The 613 rod. 613, I had some good luck with that as well. The 7018, I had no luck whatsoever. I had a very hard time starting with this rod. And all the links will be down in the comments below. These are affiliate links. If you buy off of the link, it does contribute a little bit to the channel to help support. So when I go out and buy equipment like this to review, it just helps buy this equipment. For MIG welding, this was an awesome machine. It did nice beads. It was easy to use and very reliable. It gave me constant, very repeatable beads. You saw from some of the welds that I did, it gives you a pretty strong, reliable weld. With regards to the question, can you weld thick material? Absolutely. This thing is welded solid. Not very useful for really thin material. This is like a 14 gauge steel, and it burns right through. For TIG welding, that's one that you will need to practice quite a bit. Need to keep in mind the weld needs to be very clean. So this one I did a little more work to prepare the weld and clean it up nicely. I took it over to the belt sander, sanded off all the zinc, made it nice and clean, and you can obviously, when I took the hammer to it, I got a pretty good strong weld out of this one. More than likely, the MIG is the only process that you'll use all the time. A spool, a 2-pound spool of wire will go a long way. And now I won't say this about many of the items that I demonstrate here. Usually they all have some kind of limits and conditions, but in this case, I'm going to give this one a clear, just buy it. It does a lot, and it does it for a pretty reasonable price. There is very little in this price point that actually does everything that this does. It's not perfect at anything. However, for 125 bucks, you won't come close in any of the brand names. So that's it. What'd you think? Did you get some information out of this that you really helped you today make a decision about buying this welder? And if you did like it, hit the thumb, make sure you like this video and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. That way you get notified of all new content. Thank you for watching today, and I really appreciate it. I know that your time is valuable, and it means a lot to me that you spent it here watching this video. So I hope you got something out of it. So we will see you again real soon.